status on where we're at. And, but we'll do the best we can. And if I don't have answers, I'll get back to you. So with that, I'll open it up for any questions you may have. So.
Anyone wishing to ask, please introduce yourself and then your question.
Mr. Commissioner, I'm Dick Seabold, Brown County Commissioner. We all watched from the sidelines as the 35W project forged ahead and got completed well ahead of guesstimates. Obviously, there was a economic bounty out there for the contractors to get this done that hasn't been done with projects in our area before. Do you see this happening more often? And will the legislature or Congress support spending money on those sort of things?
Right, you know, that's a very good question. In fact, it was about a month ago, the Obama transition team contacted us, and they want to know how we did that. And we had just finished up a lessons learned report, so we sent that off to them. But the transportation people on the Obama transition team are looking at those kinds of things, particularly with economic stimulus. That's their interest in how we can utilize those techniques. And if you look at the experience on the I-35W bridge, there's lots of reasons why that happened. And you know, you're absolutely right. Part of it is because you paid more. You paid for those things to happen. But it was more than that. And that we use, there's some strong partnering ethic on that project. Those folks, if you looked at the project management approach on that effort, there were over-the-shoulders reviews and things happened very quickly, but there was a lot of redundancy built in for quality control. And so there's a lot more to that than just paying the contractor more money, an incentive, having an incentive-laden contract. And so I think those are the things that we're looking at, and I think you will see more of that. I think you'll see that across this country, but again, it's more than just paying for incentives. It's the approaches and the project management that has to occur in partnering. And I always say the success of that project is related to the partnerships that we had in our state. There's a lot of states that wouldn't have happened so quickly, particularly from an environmental standpoint. We got the permits so quick, it was unbelievable. That's because we had a strong partnering relationship before this even happened, and we were able to we knew who to work with, and people just dropped what they needed to do to make this happen. So, and there was strong leadership of the process, and so there's a lot of reasons why that worked, and we've put out this lessons learned report, and I think that'll be helpful. But I think you will see more of that. There's innovative contracting mechanisms that we can build on there and make better. And so we're doing that. The design build process that we use there, we're working with the AGC to make improvements there and build on what we learned down there. So that's a great question, and I think you'll see that emerge as kind of a guiding principle. Some of those will emerge as a guiding principle for economic stimulus.
Joel Albrecht, Mayor of New Ulm. Are all of the pieces of legislation that deal with your department relevant as of today? Oftentimes we find things that were passed several years ago in relationship to whatever it happens to be a good idea. You take 5 or 10 years or longer, it's an impediment to any progress for the department. So, and right now I'm thinking about land acquisition for highways because of the accelerating cost of that land. We've been able to buy some land 3 years ago or 4 years ago for Highway 14. The total cost of the project would be a whole lot less than what it will be under the rules that we're operating on right now. And so I'm getting at is, should some of these things be cleaned up and we as an organization and other organizations like ours go to the legislature and ask to have a revamp and clean up, if you will,
Yeah, that's another good question, and you're absolutely right. There are some things out there that may not be a good fit for where we are today, and we're taking a hard look at some of those things, and you've got that example, and you know, this past year with the volatility of gas prices, it's been a hardship on the industry folks, and we've had a lot of debate with you know, the asphalt industry and the concrete industry. So we're looking at a different approach there. It's an alternate bid concept where you know, when it comes time to actually deliver the project, we can look at the prices at that time, as opposed to the past where we had locked into it, whether it's an asphalt or concrete option. We're looking at having an alternate bid approach so that you can adjust for the prices at that time. And we feel we can make that work. We think that's a very good option. But it's that kind of thing we've got to look at, because we have changed a lot. Our environment's changed a lot, and there's a lot of things like that we can look at. Contracting is a good example where the contracting community has evolved. There's a lot of new and good techniques out there. And we've been a leader in design build, but there are other mechanisms out there that are build on design build that I think we need to look at. And we've been working with the legislature to try to get authority to do some of those. Innovative financing is another arena where if we want to get some loans from the federal government, we may not have the authority now to do that. And so we've got some proposals over now to change that so we can move in those areas. But I think as we move into this, to be a more innovative and creative about what we're doing, and particularly leveraging funds and leveraging and using contracting mechanisms, we've got to make sure we work with the legislature to have that authority to do that. And as we work more with, you heard the governor yesterday, if you heard his State of the State address, he talked a lot about working with locals and counties and cities. And we've had some meetings with the Association of Minnesota Counties, and we've talked a lot about these kinds of concepts and what we would need from a legislative standpoint to do these kinds of things. And a lot of it, quite honestly, we can work together on it to happen. But there are a few things here and there. Design build is one where right now not everybody has the authority to do design build. And so we need to look at that to see if there's a way to push that down to the local level more when it's appropriate. It may not be appropriate at all times, but there may be opportunities to do that. So there may be a laundry list of stuff like that that we can work with you on. But we are trying to move into those areas to make sure that we have the tools. It's the tools that we need to do the right thing. So it's a good point.
I have one if you have a second. How do you see the department making the funding decisions in the future? One of the frustrations I know we always have is we go to the legislature, we try to get funding for Highway 14, and then they say, well, they don't want to make specific decisions. They have to work with MnDOT. They talk to MnDOT, and they say, well, we don't have the money for the state legislature. So do you see anything changing, or is there directions we should have, or something we should be looking at in the future of how to obtain funds to complete Highway 14?
Well, you know, that issue came up in this legislative task force that I mentioned, and the whole ATP process came up, and the task force came back with a recommendation to look at the ATP